Every single one of us has untapped potential. We all have dreams, aspirations, and a vision of who we could become. But there's something holding us back. It's not the economy. It's not our circumstances. It's not other people. The thing holding us back is right here inside us. It's that weak version of ourselves that we've allowed to take control. Now, when I say weak version, I'm not talking about physical weakness. I'm talking about the part of us that makes excuses instead of progress, the part that chooses comfort over growth, the part that settles for less than we're capable of achieving. This weak version of ourselves is the enemy of our success, our happiness, and our fulfillment. We have the power to change this. We have the ability to kill that weak version of ourselves and give life to the strong, capable, extraordinary person we're meant to be. And that's what we're going to talk about today. You see, inside each of us, there are two versions competing for control. There's the version that's content with mediocrity, that shies away from challenges, that makes excuses and settles for less. And then there's the version that hungers for growth, that embraces discomfort, that refuses to settle for anything less than extraordinary. The question is, which version are you feeding? Every day, with every choice you make, you're feeding one version or the other. When you hit the snooze button instead of getting up to work on your goals, you're feeding the weak version. When you choose to watch mindless entertainment instead of reading a book that could change your life, you're feeding the weak version. When you complain about your circumstances instead of taking action to change them, you're feeding the weak version. And just as you've been making choices that feed the weak version, you can start making choices that starve it. And that's what we're going to learn how to do. Killing that weak version of yourself isn't about self-hatred or punishment. It's about love. Love for the person you're capable of becoming. It's about respect. Respect for your potential, your dreams, your purpose. It's about responsibility. Taking responsibility for your life, your choices, your future. So how do we do it? How do we kill that weak version of ourselves? It starts with awareness. You need to become acutely aware of the choices you're making every day. Are they feeding the weak version or the strong version? Are they moving you closer to your goals or further away? Are they aligned with your values and aspirations, or are they keeping you stuck? Once you have awareness, the next step is decision. You need to make a firm, unwavering decision that you're done living small. You're done making excuses. You're done settling for less than you're capable of. This decision needs to be so strong, so unshakable, that it becomes the foundation for everything you do. After decision comes action. This is where the rubber meets the road. This is where you start making different choices, day in and day out. It's not about perfection. It's about consistency. It's about making more choices that feed the strong version of you than the weak version. This journey isn't going to be easy. That weak version of you isn't going to go down without a fight. It's going to whisper doubts in your ear. It's going to try to lure you back to your comfort zone. It's going to remind you of all the times you've tried and failed before. But here's what you need to remember. That weak version of you is a liar. It doesn't have your best interests at heart. It's not trying to protect you. It's trying to limit you. It's not trying to keep you safe. It's trying to keep you small. The truth is, you are capable of so much more than you've allowed yourself to believe. You have strengths and talents that you haven't even tapped into yet. You have a purpose, a calling, that's waiting for you to step up and claim it. But to do that, you need to be willing to let go of who you've been to become who you're meant to be. You need to be willing to step out of your comfort zone and into the arena of growth and possibility. You need to be willing to face your fears, confront your doubts, and push through your limitations. Think about all the dreams you've put on hold. Think about all the goals you've given up on. Think about all the times you've said, someday I'll do that. Now, I want you to ask yourself, what if today was that someday? What if today was the day you decided to stop waiting and start doing? That's the power of killing that weak version of yourself. It opens up a world of possibility. It allows you to tap into strengths you didn't even know you had. It gives you the courage to pursue dreams you've been too afraid to even speak out loud. But it all starts with a decision to stop settling, a decision to stop making excuses, a decision to stop living a life dictated by fear and start living a life driven by purpose. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. That sounds great, but I don't know where to start. Well, let me tell you, it starts right here, right now. It starts with small choices that add up to big changes. It starts with getting up an hour earlier to work on your goals. It starts with choosing a book over mindless entertainment. It starts with having that difficult conversation you've been putting off. It starts with taking that first step towards your dreams, even if you're not sure where it will lead. You see, killing that weak version of yourself isn't something that happens overnight. It's a process, a journey. It's about making consistent choices that align with your highest self. It's about choosing growth over comfort, possibility over limitation, action over excuses. As you start making these choices, as you start feeding that strong version of yourself, you'll start to see changes. Maybe not immediately, but gradually, consistently, your life will begin to transform. You'll start to feel more confident, more capable. You'll start to see opportunities where you once saw obstacles. You'll start to attract people and circumstances that align with your new, stronger self. But it all starts with you. It starts with your decision to no longer tolerate mediocrity in your life. It starts with your commitment to becoming the best version of yourself. Now, let me share a personal experience with you. Years ago, I was stuck in a job I hated. Every day, I'd drag myself to work, counting the hours until I could leave. I knew I was capable of more, but fear held me back. Fear of failure, fear of the unknown, fear of what others might think. That weak version of me was in control, feeding me excuses. "You're not qualified for anything else," it would say. "At least this job is stable," it would remind me. "What if you fail?" it would whisper. But one day, I'd had enough. I was tired of living a life dictated by fear. So I made a decision to kill that weak version of myself. I started small. I began reading books on entrepreneurship during my lunch break. I started a side business in the evenings. I invested in courses to learn new skills. It wasn't easy. That weak version fought back hard. There were days when I wanted to give up, when the comfort of my old life seemed so appealing. But I persisted. Day by day, choice by choice, I starved that weak version of myself while feeding the strong, ambitious version. And you know what? My life began to change. Slowly at first, then faster and faster. Within a year, I had quit my job and was running my own business full-time. Was it scary? Absolutely. Was it worth it? Without a doubt. Killing that weak version of myself didn't just improve my career, it transformed my entire life. I became more confident, more resilient. I started taking on challenges I would have shied away from before. I began to see myself not as a victim of circumstances, but as the creator of my own destiny. And that's what I want for each and every one of you. I want you to experience the liberation, the empowerment, the sheer joy that comes from living life on your own terms. I want you to know what it feels like to look in the mirror and be proud of the person staring back at you. But it all starts with a choice to no longer tolerate mediocrity in your life, a choice to stop settling for less than you're capable of, a choice to kill that weak version of yourself and give life to the strong, capable, extraordinary person you're meant to be. Now, I can almost hear some of you thinking, "That's great for you, but my situation is different. I have responsibilities, limitations, circumstances." Stop right there. That's the weak version of you talking. That's the version we're here to kill today. The weak version of you is an expert at making excuses. It's got a whole arsenal of them. "I'm too old. I don't have enough time. I don't have the right connections. I'm not smart enough." These excuses might sound different, but they all serve the same purpose: to keep you small, to keep you safe, to keep you from growing. But here's the truth, and it might be hard to hear, but it's a truth you need to embrace if you want to kill that weak version of yourself. Your life, right now, is a result of your choices, not your circumstances, not your upbringing, not your luck, your choices. Now, I'm not saying that external factors don't play a role. Of course they do. We all face challenges and obstacles, but it's not the obstacle that determines your life. It's how you respond to it. And that response is a choice. You can choose to let obstacles defeat you, or you can choose to let them strengthen you. You can choose to let setbacks discourage you, or you can choose to let them motivate you. You can choose to let fear paralyze you, or you can choose to let it fuel you. And the key word here is choose. You have the power to choose. And every time you make a choice that aligns with your highest self, you're killing that weak version of you a little bit more. How to make those choices consistently? Because killing that weak version of yourself isn't a one-time event. It's a daily practice. It's about the small decisions you make moment to moment, day after day. First, you need to get clear on your values and your vision for your life. What kind of person do you want to be? What do you want to achieve? What impact do you want to have on the world? Once you have clarity on these things, you can use them as a compass to guide your decisions. Next, you need to develop self-awareness. Start paying attention to your thoughts, your emotions, your reactions. When you feel yourself slipping into old patterns or making excuses, catch yourself. Pause, take a deep breath, and then make a conscious choice to respond in a way that aligns with your strong self. Then, you need to cultivate discipline. Discipline is what bridges the gap between who you are and who you want to be. It's what allows you to do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. Discipline is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Part of cultivating discipline is creating habits and routines that support your growth. Maybe it's getting up early to work on your goals. Maybe it's setting aside time each day for learning and self-improvement. Maybe it's practicing gratitude or meditation to keep yourself centered and focused. Another crucial aspect of killing that weak version of yourself is surrounding yourself with the right people. You've probably heard the saying, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Well, there's a lot of truth to that. If you're surrounded by people who are content with mediocrity, who make excuses, who settle for less than they're capable of, guess what? That weak version of you is going to feel right at home. But if you surround yourself with people who are ambitious, who are constantly growing, who refuse to settle, that strong version of you is going to thrive. So take a look at your social circle. Are the people around you lifting you up or holding you back? Are they challenging you to grow or enabling you to stay comfortable? If you find that your current circle isn't supporting your growth, it might be time to expand your network. Seek out people who inspire you, who challenge you, who bring out the best in you. Fear is one of the weak version's most powerful weapons. It uses fear to keep you small, to keep you from taking risks, to keep you from pursuing your dreams. But here's the thing about fear. It's often based on lies. The weak version of you will tell you that you're not good enough, that you're going to fail, that you're going to be judged. But these are all lies. The truth is, you are capable of far more than you realize. The truth is, failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of success. The truth is, those who would judge you for pursuing your dreams are not the people whose opinions should matter to you. So the next time you feel fear holding you back, I want you to do something. I want you to feel the fear, acknowledge it, and then do it anyway. Because on the other side of fear is growth. On the other side of fear is strength. On the other side of fear is the person you're meant to become. The weak version of you is terrified of failure. It will do anything to avoid it, even if that means never trying in the first place. But the strong version of you, the strong version understands that failure is not just inevitable, it's valuable. Every failure is a lesson. Every setback is an opportunity to grow stronger, to become more resilient, to refine your approach. The strong version of you doesn't see failure as a reflection of your worth. It sees failure as feedback. So I want you to start embracing failure, not in a defeatist way, but in a way that recognizes its value. When you fail, don't beat yourself up. Instead, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I use this experience to become better, stronger, more capable? Remember, the goal isn't to be perfect. The goal is to be better today than you were yesterday. And sometimes, the fastest way to get better is to fail, learn, and try again. The weak version of you loves comfort zones. It will do anything to keep you there because comfort zones feel safe. But here's the thing about comfort zones. Nothing grows there. Not your skills, not your confidence, not your possibilities. Growth happens when you step out of your comfort zone, when you take on challenges that scare you a little, when you do things you're not quite sure you can do. That's where the magic happens. That's where you discover strengths you didn't know you had. That's where you become the person you're meant to be. So I challenge you to do something that scares you every day. It doesn't have to be big. Maybe it's speaking up in a meeting when you usually stay quiet. Maybe it's reaching out to someone you admire. Maybe it's trying a new skill you've always been curious about. Whatever it is, do it. Feel the discomfort. Push through it and watch yourself grow. Killing that weak version of yourself isn't about making dramatic changes overnight. It's about making small, consistent choices day after day. It's about choosing the apple over the cookie, the book over the TV show, the workout over the extra hour of sleep, not just once, but again and again and again. Consistency. Consistency is what turns actions into habits and habits into lasting change. It's what allows you to build momentum, to create compound effects in your life. So don't underestimate the power of small, consistent actions. They might not seem like much in the moment, but over time, they can transform your life. The weak version of you has a fixed mindset. It believes that your abilities, your intelligence, your potential are set in stone. But the strong version of you? The strong version has a growth mindset. It believes that with effort and persistence, you can develop any skill, learn any subject, overcome any obstacle. Cultivating a growth mindset is crucial to killing that weak version of yourself. It allows you to see challenges as opportunities, criticism as feedback, and effort as the path to mastery. So start paying attention to your self-talk. When you catch yourself thinking in fixed mindset terms, challenge those thoughts. Replace "I can't do this" with "I can't do this yet." Replace "I'm not good at this" with "I'm getting better at this every day." Now let's talk about purpose. The weak version of you is content to drift through life without direction. But the strong version of you? The strong version understands the power of having a clear sense of purpose. When you have a purpose, the reason why that's bigger than yourself, it gives you the strength to push through challenges, to overcome obstacles, to keep going when things get tough. So I want you to think about your purpose. What gets you out of bed in the morning? What impact do you want to have on the world? What legacy do you want to leave? Once you have clarity on your purpose, use it as a North Star to guide your decisions and actions. Okay? Now, the weak version of you might think self-care is about indulgence, binge-watching TV shows, eating junk food, avoiding anything that feels like work. But the strong version of you understands that true self-care is about nourishing yourself, body, mind, and spirit, so that you can show up as your best self in the world. True self-care might look like getting enough sleep, so you have the energy to pursue your goals. It might mean eating nutritious food that fuels your body and brain. It might involve regular exercise to keep your body strong and your mind clear. It might include meditation or journaling to process your thoughts and emotions. Self-care is not selfish, it's necessary. It's what allows you to recharge, to refocus, to reconnect with your purpose. When you take care of yourself, you're better equipped to take care of others, to pursue your goals, to make a difference in the world. Right. So I want you to start prioritizing self-care, not as an excuse to avoid challenges, but as a way to prepare yourself to face them head on. Treat your body and mind like the valuable resources they are. Nurture them, strengthen them, and watch how it transforms your ability to kill that weak version of yourself. The weak version of you is always focused on what's lacking, what's wrong, what's not enough. But the strong version understands the power of gratitude. It knows that focusing on what you're grateful for doesn't just make you feel good. It actually changes your brain, making you more resilient, more positive, more capable of growth. Start each day by thinking of 3 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be big things. Maybe you're grateful for the warm sun on your face, or for the friend who called to check in on you, or for the fact that you have the opportunity to work towards your dreams. Whatever it is, acknowledge it, feel it. Let it fill you with positivity and strength. Gratitude isn't about ignoring problems or pretending everything is perfect. It's about recognizing the good that exists alongside the challenges. It's about choosing to focus on what empowers you rather than what drags you down. And every time you choose gratitude, you're choosing to feed that strong version of yourself. The weak version of you might think that learning stops when you finish school. But the strong version knows that learning is a lifelong journey. In fact, it's one of the most powerful tools you have for killing that weak version of yourself. When you commit to continuous learning, you're constantly expanding your knowledge, your skills, your perspectives. You're challenging your assumptions, pushing your boundaries, opening yourself up to new possibilities. You're literally rewiring your brain, creating new neural pathways that make you more adaptable, more creative, more resilient, right? So I want you to make learning a daily habit. Read books that challenge your thinking. Take courses in subjects that interest you. Seek out mentors who can guide you. Listen to podcasts that expose you to new ideas. Engage in conversations with people who think differently than you do. Remember, every piece of knowledge you gain, every skill you develop, every new perspective you embrace, these are all weapons in your arsenal for killing that weak version of yourself. They're tools that empower you to grow, to evolve, to become the person you're meant to be. The weak version of you might dismiss this as wishful thinking, but the strong version understands that visualization is a powerful tool for rewiring your brain and priming yourself for success. Athletes use visualization to improve their performance. Entrepreneurs use it to bring their visions to life. And you can use it to kill that weak version of yourself and step into your strongest, most capable self. Here's how it works. Take a few minutes each day to close your eyes and vividly imagine yourself as the person you want to become. See yourself taking action, overcoming challenges, achieving your goals. Feel the emotions of confidence, pride, and fulfillment that come with living as your strongest self. When you do this consistently, you're actually creating new neural pathways in your brain. You're training your mind to recognize and seize opportunities. You're building your confidence and motivation. You're aligning your subconscious mind with your conscious goals. So don't underestimate the power of visualization. Use it as a daily practice to reinforce your commitment to killing that weak version of yourself. Let's discuss the importance of setting boundaries. The weak version of you might say yes to everything, afraid of disappointing others or missing out. But the strong version knows that setting boundaries is crucial for protecting your time, your energy, and your focus. Setting boundaries means learning to say no to things that don't align with your values or goals. It means prioritizing your own growth and well-being. It means standing up for yourself and your needs, even when it's uncomfortable. When you set clear boundaries, you're sending a powerful message to yourself and to others about what you value and what you're willing to accept. You're creating space in your life for the things that truly matter. You're preserving your energy for the pursuits that will help you grow and thrive. So start practicing setting boundaries. It might feel uncomfortable at first, but remember, that discomfort is just the weak version of you trying to hold on. Push through it. The more you practice, the easier it will become, and the stronger you'll grow. The weak version of you might try to go it alone, afraid of being vulnerable or asking for help. But the strong version knows that having accountability can be a game changer in your journey to kill that weak self. An accountability partner or group can provide support, encouragement, and most importantly, they can hold you to your commitments. When you know someone else is aware of your goals and checking in on your progress, you're more likely to follow through. You're more likely to push yourself when things get tough. So find an accountability partner. It could be a friend, a family member, a coach, or even a group of like-minded individuals. Share your goals with them. Check in regularly. Be honest about your struggles and celebrate your victories together. Remember, killing that weak version of yourself doesn't have to be a solo journey. Having the right support can make all the difference. The weak version of you sees obstacles as roadblocks, setbacks as failures, challenges as reasons to give up. But the strong version knows how to reframe these experiences in a way that fuels growth and progress. Reframing is about changing your perspective. It's about looking at a situation from a different angle and finding the opportunity within the challenge. For example, instead of seeing a setback as a failure, you can reframe it as a valuable learning experience. Instead of seeing a difficult task as a burden, you can reframe it as an opportunity to develop new skills. When you master the art of reframing, you take away one of the weak version's most powerful weapons, negative thinking. You transform potential excuses into catalysts for growth. You turn obstacles into stepping stones. So start practicing reframing in your daily life. When you encounter a challenge, pause and ask yourself, how can I look at this differently? What's the opportunity here? How can this help me grow? The more you practice, the more natural it will become, and the stronger you'll grow. The weak version of you might only focus on the big goals, overlooking the small steps it takes to get there. But the strong version knows that celebrating small wins is crucial for building momentum and maintaining motivation. Every time you make a choice that aligns with your goals, every time you push through discomfort, every time you learn something new, these are all wins. They might seem small in the moment, but they add up. They're the building blocks of your transformation. By acknowledging and celebrating these small wins, you're reinforcing positive behaviors. You're building your confidence. You're creating a positive feedback loop that encourages you to keep pushing forward. So start recognizing and celebrating your small wins. Did you choose to read a book instead of watching TV? That's a win. Did you speak up in a meeting when you usually stay quiet? That's a win. Did you try a new healthy recipe instead of ordering takeout? That's a win. Acknowledge these victories. Feel proud of yourself. Use them as fuel to keep killing that weak version of yourself. The power of forgiveness, not just forgiving others, but forgiving yourself. The weak version of you might hold on to past mistakes, using them as evidence of why you can't succeed. But the strong version knows that self-forgiveness is essential for growth and progress. We all make mistakes. We all have moments of weakness. The key is not to let these moments define you. When you make a mistake, acknowledge it, learn from it, and then forgive yourself. Release the guilt and shame. They're just dead weight holding you back from becoming your strongest self. Remember, the goal isn't perfection. The goal is progress. And progress requires the ability to forgive yourself, to let go of past mistakes, and to keep moving forward. So practice self-forgiveness. When you slip up, when you give in to that weak version of yourself, don't beat yourself up. Instead, show yourself compassion. Learn from the experience, and then recommit to your journey of growth and self-improvement. And the weak version of you might get stuck in planning mode, always waiting for the perfect moment or the perfect plan before taking action. But the strong version knows that action is the antidote to fear and doubt. You can't think your way to strength. You can't plan your way to success. At some point, you have to take action. You have to do the thing you're afraid of doing. You have to start before you feel ready. Taking action builds confidence. It provides real-world feedback that you can learn from. It creates momentum that propels you forward. Even if the action you take doesn't lead to the result you wanted, it still moves you forward because it gives you experience and knowledge you didn't have before. So stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop waiting until you feel ready. Take action now, no matter how small. Make that phone call. Write that first page. Go to that networking event. Whatever it is you've been putting off, do it now. Remember, every action you take is a blow against that weak version of yourself. Every step forward, no matter how small, is a victory. The concept of personal integrity. The weak version of you might make promises to yourself that you don't keep, but the strong version understands that personal integrity, keeping the promises you make to yourself, is fundamental to killing that weak self. When you break promises to yourself, you're essentially telling yourself that you can't be trusted. You're reinforcing the belief that you're not capable of change or growth. You're feeding that weak version of yourself. But when you keep the promises you make to yourself, no matter how small, you're building trust with yourself. You're proving to yourself that you are capable, that you are reliable, that you can change and grow. Start small. Make a promise to yourself that you know you can keep. Maybe it's to drink a glass of water first thing in the morning, or to read for 10 minutes before bed. Then keep that promise, no matter what. As you build this habit of keeping promises to yourself, you'll find that your self-confidence grows, your self-respect increases, and that weak version of you begins to fade away. The weak version of you might think you can achieve your goals without changing your environment. But the strong version knows that your environment plays a crucial role in shaping your behavior and your outcomes. Your environment includes your physical space, the information you consume, the tools you use, and the people you interact with. All of these factors can either support your growth or hinder it. So take a look at your environment. Is it set up to support the strong version of you? Or is it enabling that weak version to stick around? If you're trying to eat healthier, is your kitchen stocked with nutritious foods? If you're trying to read more, are books easily accessible in your living space? If you're trying to be more productive, is your workspace organized and free from distractions? Remember, it's much easier to make good choices when your environment supports those choices. So don't be afraid to make changes to your environment. Clear out the clutter, both physical and mental. Surround yourself with things that inspire and motivate you. Create an environment that makes it easy to be your best self. The weak version of you might expect instant results and give up when things don't change overnight. But the strong version understands that real, lasting change takes time. And killing that weak version of yourself is not a quick fix. It's not about motivation that comes and goes. It's about consistent, persistent effort over time. It's about showing up day after day, even when you don't see immediate results. If you were to go to the gym today and lift weights for hours, would you wake up tomorrow with a perfectly sculpted body? Of course not. Building physical strength takes time and consistent effort. The same is true for building mental and emotional strength. So be patient with yourself. Understand that change is a process, not an event. Celebrate the small signs of progress along the way. Trust that if you keep making the right choices, if you keep feeding that strong version of yourself, the results will come. Remember, the oak tree doesn't grow to its full height overnight. It grows slowly, steadily, over many years. But once it reaches its full height, it's unshakable. That's the kind of strength you're building, deep, lasting, unshakable strength. The weak version of you might use language that reinforces limitations and doubts, but the strong version understands that the words you use both in your self-talk and in your communication with others have the power to shape your reality.